What is this email? Maybe I'll open it.
Hello, you don't know me, but I'm your daughter. You gave me up for adoption 18 years ago. All throughout my childhood, I knew I did not resemble the family I grew up with. My parents told me I was adopted when I was around 10 years old, and then it started to make sense why I look so different. When I turned 18, I knew how to contact my birth mom. That's how I found you and why I decided to send you a video of the child you didn't want all grown up. I can't believe you abandoned me so many years ago. I think I deserve an explanation as to why I wasn't worth keeping.
I can't believe this. I'm shocked to my core. If only Oklahoma had better sex education for adolescents, I wouldn't have had to go through the suffering of giving up a child as a teen mom. I could have avoided this devastation if I had been better informed about sex education. I think many of the people I went to high school with would say the same thing.
My sex ed sucked. I didn't learn anything about how to protect myself.
My Oklahoma sex ed was garbage. When I was in high school, I was clueless.
I laughed when I heard penis.
None of my friends ever got a satisfactory education when it comes to sex. Oklahoma schools do not require enough sex education, which is why Oklahoma is the leading state in teen STDs and teen pregnancies nationwide. According to OklahomaWatch.org, the Oklahoma City Public Schools District is the largest in the state, but this district does not offer or even provide any type of sex education class for any grade level at all.
I'm a student at a public school in Oklahoma where I have experienced very few and pointless sex education classes. That is why I feel credible to talk about the lack of general sex ed in Oklahoma. This film is going to talk about the lack of sex education for Oklahoma teens and what the government can do to lift the state out of being top 3 in teen pregnancies and top 10 for teen STD rates.
First, let's catch a glimpse of what a current Oklahoma sex ed class looks like so we can start to understand how Bella got pregnant.
Man, I hate going to the sex ed class.
Yeah, for real, it's so stupid.
I haven't learned anything from all the times we've been forced to go.
All I remember from last year is all the STD pictures, and all I know is I would never get one of those.
Yeah.
Don't have sex. You will get pregnant and you will die. I need your attention for this. What is a hug?
Red!
What is intimate kissing?
Red!
What is sexual intercourse?
Green!
Do not have sex. You will get these STDs. You will get syphilis, herpes, AIDS, chlamydia. We do not have sex. We have abstinence.
1 hour later.
Why do we even have that class? It's such a waste of time.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I already know what I need to do about sex anyway.
I mean, there's not that much that you can learn about it.
Yeah.
As you can see, these two girls did not receive a helpful sex education and they are completely uninformed on basic knowledge. If only they knew how much they could gain from attending valuable and worthwhile sex ed classes, their lives would be changed for the better. Since Oklahoma lacks these classes, their lives might not go as smoothly as they had hoped. They might encounter unwanted pregnancies or STDs that get in the way of their futures.
My name is Bella, and I'm a victim of not receiving a stable sex education. I'm here to share my story of how I got pregnant because I was never educated over how to have safe sex or protect myself. In fact, according to Bill HB 1507 of the sex education legislation in Oklahoma, no student is required to participate in any sex ed if their guardian objects. Because of this bill, many students completely miss out on sex education classes altogether. This film will show some events that took place during high school that led me to give my daughter up when I had her at age 18. because I never learned about pregnancy prevention. It all started when I went to a typical high school party.
I'm so glad we came to this party.
Same. It's so fun.
I'm having such a good time.
Me too.
Wait, aren't you supposed to be meeting that Jacob boy here?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping the two of us get to hang out later.
Well, you know, there is a spare room in the back.
I have to use that.
Hello, Miss Blake.
Hello, Dr. Clark.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Well, let's get straight to the business. So, looks like you're about a month pregnant. You're only 17, right?
Yeah.
In fact, teen pregnancy is a huge problem nationwide. Oklahoma is third in teen pregnancies according to the CDC, and according to the Department of Health and Human Services, 5% of all births in the country were from girls aged 15 to 19. I wasn't going to tell her this because it is not good news, but I read in the Tulsa World that in 2008, the state of Oklahoma spent $36 million in public health care costs for teen pregnancy cases. Not only that, but I read that 51% of girls who get pregnant in their teenage years don't even graduate high school. Half of these mothers even end up on welfare within 5 years.
I had the worst morning sickness ever. It was awful and made me miss so much school.
Oh, Bella, you should have used a condom.
I didn't know!
My stomach was huge and I was tired all the time, which made me fall behind in my schoolwork, and I even failed some classes.
I don't want to get rid of my baby, but I know that since I'm in high school, I can't take care of it right now.
Well, Miss Blake, it's time.
Bye, Aubrey.
It'll be in a better place.
According to Nancy Herndon, Bella helps make up 2% of the 1.1 million teens that put their babies up for adoption. Although she didn't want to give up her child, she knew she couldn't end up like the 58% of teen moms who keep their babies and struggle to go to school and keep a job. Her choice to give up her baby is one that will haunt her for the rest of her life.
This could be you. I'm sure many of you have huge plans for your future. A lot of you hope to go to college, get a degree, and earn a sustainable job. Imagine how those plans could fall apart if you were to get pregnant or to catch an STD. These obstacles could be avoided if Oklahoma made changes with their current involvement with ex-ed requirements for students.
Let's see if our state can fix the issue that troubles so many teens.
Oklahoma is one of the nation's leaders in teen pregnancy and teen sexually transmitted disease rates. Its lack of sexual education for adolescents in high school can be blamed for this. At many schools, sex ed, if even offered, is not an education. It's more a class just promoting abstinence. In fact, in Putnam City, the state's 5th largest school district, there's only one optional course for freshmen dealing with abstinence and HIV/AIDS prevention. This is according to Foreman in 2014. With this weak sexual education, it's not surprising to see Oklahoma as a nation leader in teen STD and teen pregnancy rates like we've been discussing. A more in-depth and more common education would drop Oklahoma from these rankings because it would teach teenagers to make a decision to participate in safe sex or abstinence.
As you've seen through Bella's unplanned pregnancy, the state of Oklahoma does a poor job at including programs to teach safe sex.
According to NormanTranscripts.com, Kristen Eberly, STD Prevention Program Manager with the Oklahoma Department of Health, stated, "We need more education to tell people about the risks and how to protect themselves." In order to decrease the amount of teen pregnancies and STDs among teens in Oklahoma, the state must pass a bill that requires mandatory sex education classes for all students. The classes would begin in 7th grade and take place annually through 12th grade. No student would be allowed to miss the classes, and they'd be required in order to graduate. The program would focus on teaching safe sex instead of only focusing on abstinence. According to the Lostogel.com, sex education is not currently required to be taught in schools, and when it is, the classes focus on abstinence only. As many high schoolers know, this teaching is not always realistic.
These sex ed requirements would be initiated at every public school district in Oklahoma and would be set in place by the Oklahoma legislation.
This solution meets the exact needs of the issue regarding safe sex education because it gives all students the ability to become informed on the dangers of having unsafe sex.
Students would enter their adult lives with a reliable sex education that they could use for the rest of their lives. Their education would go further than knowing how babies were born. All students would have a proper knowledge of pregnancy prevention, safe sex, and avoidance of sexually transmitted diseases.
This is not the case for current teens in Oklahoma because Casey Price, Program Manager for the Oklahoma Department of Health Disease Intervention Services, explained that there are a 17% increase of chlamydia and a 36% increase of gonorrhea among teens over the past 5 years.
Here is a look at what could happen in Bella's life if her state initiated new sex ed programs.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Have fun in college!
Bye, Mom! I'm so excited to start my first day as a nurse.
As you can see, if Bella's school initiated a new sex education program, she would not have gotten pregnant at such a young age. She would also be able to graduate high school, go to college, and get a sustainable job. Her fellow classmates would also have better things to say about their experiences in sex ed classes.
I actually don't mind going to sex ed class now because now I know how to protect myself and I've learned a lot.
Now that they don't only teach us abstinence, I can have safe sex all the time.
The new mandatory sex classes have taught me how to safely protect myself.
This new sex ed program would be passed by the government and is the perfect solution for Oklahoma's high teen pregnancy and STD rates because it would ensure that every student would get a satisfactory sex education. Since the class would be required by law, no student would miss out since they are annual classes, and each student would be refreshed with knowledge each year.
According to an organization called The Power to Decide, Delaware is ranked 25th in teen birth rates among girls 15 to 19, with about 18 teen birth rates per 1,000 births. Oklahoma, ranked 3rd in the nation, tallied at almost 30 teen births per 1,000 births. This means that the state of Oklahoma has almost twice the number of teen pregnancies as Delaware. The reason why Delaware has such a lower teen birth rate is because they have a better sex ed program. An article on rank.com reported that Delaware does not give kids the ability to opt out of their sex ed classes, and they must receive half a credit in health education in order to graduate. The state also requires that some form of HIV prevention must be taught every year. If Oklahoma initiated a new sex ed curriculum like Delaware, they would likely see a downward trend in teen pregnancies and STD rates.
The biggest pushback to giving a comprehensive sexual education course to high school students is that they're going to go out and have sex, get pregnant, or contract an STD. Well, the sad thing is, they're already doing all of those things, but not because they're stupid, because Oklahoma high schoolers are not getting a sufficient education. Having high school students show up to a couple of sex ed classes every year from middle school to graduation sounds like a super easy way to fix the problem, and the only negative side effect posed by haters is that teens will still be having sex. The only difference is that they will be informed about what they're doing. Let's see what positive impacts would be made if the state initiated a new sex ed curriculum. If the state of Oklahoma was to pass a bill initiating a new sex ed curriculum, there is a high chance that the teen birth rate would decrease dramatically, along with teen STD rates. As a result of that, the number of families on welfare would decrease, and there would be fewer high schoolers who drop out because they are pregnant or having to manage a baby. Public schools in general would have a more positive atmosphere because they could teach their students how to live more healthy lifestyles.
In summary, the sex education in Oklahoma needs to be improved by promoting more mandatory sex ed classes in 7th through 12th grades.
Today you learned the scary truth about teen pregnancies and STDs in Oklahoma because of the lack of sex ed classes and the abstinence-only teaching method.
I challenge you to think about your own sex education throughout high school. Do you think it was satisfactory enough to properly educate you on the topic of sex? I want you to challenge the Oklahoma government to pass a law that makes yearly sex education classes mandatory in the state of Oklahoma.
I am sure that none of you are prepared to be parents right now at this point in your life. I want you to think about all the education and the exciting events you would miss out on if you were to be hit with an unplanned pregnancy. To all the girls out there, unless you're ready to give up caffeine, crop tops, hot tubbing, high heels, and being able to tie your shoes, I would suggest supporting this new sex ed curriculum. And to all the guys out there, Unless you're okay to deal with a girl who is 10 times more moody and emotional than normal, I would suggest that you do the same. Thank you.